Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash. Going to talk some Steeler football. Recently, Bruce Arians sat down with HBO, I think it was, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. I didn't even know Bryant Gumbel was still doing sports or that the dude was still even alive.
He's a robot.
Apparently, Bruce Arians is talking to him about the way he departed the Steelers, what Mike Tomlin said to him, what he didn't say to him. I know a lot of people hate on Todd Haley, us included, because we think Todd Haley's garbage. A lot of people hated on Bruce Arians when he was here, saying that the Steelers' offense couldn't score in the red zone. I mean, the Steelers' offense has struggled in the red zone for pretty much a lot of our Steeler fandom. It's just kind of been a trend no matter who the offensive coordinator was. But according to this article, anyway, Bruce Arians had a conversation with Tomlin. Tomlin called him, pretty much said, well,
you're beat.
Yeah, pretty much. Apparently before this conversation, sorry I should say this, Tomlin told Arians he was going to be able to get him a raise. Not even just a new contract, but a raise. So then Tomlin calls and says, I can't get you the money. Arians said, okay. And Tomlin said, no, I can't get you a contract. So Arians asked if he was firing him, and Tomlin replied, no. But Arians' reply was, well, it's just a matter of words, so, and then...
Well, maybe it wasn't Tomlin firing him, maybe it came from above.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from what this, so far, the article says, I didn't get to see the thing for HBO. I don't think it airs till next week, maybe. But from what they're trying to make it sound like, that's exactly what it was. You know, it was some higher-ups, maybe the Rooneys. They're probably not going to name anybody specifically.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's what I've been saying for a long time. I really don't think he had full control over all that stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, there's no reason to. A lot of teams do it that way.
It's kind of baffling to me because although the last 2 years the Steelers have scored a lot of points and probably the most points on other than maybe the last two Super Bowl teams of the 70s when Bradshaw really took the helm and that offense really kind of led the way over the defense. But under Bruce Arians, and I'm not going to give you every stat to bore the hell out of you, but the Steelers, only 1 year did they throw for less than 3,500 yards. The most was in 2009 when they threw for 4,400 yards, 4,496, so almost 45. Under Todd Haley, in 2014 and 2015, both years the Steelers threw for over 4,500 yards, 4,800 in 2014, 4,600 in 2015. But we didn't win no championships. We won
it's a different style. All we do is pass now, obviously.
Right.
I mean, even Le'Veon Bell gets 100 catches if he stays healthy, you know what I mean? It's a totally different game, and plus Big Ben is more mature at this point and is a better passing quarterback at this point. Early in his career, they ran the ball a ton.
Oh, yeah. In 2007, the Steelers rushed for 2,100, a little over 2,100 yards. They haven't rushed for more than 1,752 under Todd Haley.
And that's with Le'Veon Bell.
Right. They rushed for 135 yards a game in 2007. That was Bettis gone? Yeah, Bettis was gone. He left after the 05 Super Bowl, right? That was the Detroit Super Bowl. So that was 2007 was probably Rashard Mendenhall. That was probably the one good season that he had.
Yeah. When he humped Ben's leg.
Yeah. But I don't understand why the Steelers were so quick to call it a retirement. Why did they cover it up? Why couldn't they just say we want to get rid of Bruce Arians? Why this weird... And then people talked about it then. The only reason it's coming out again is because Arians just did this interview and talked about it, so people picked it up and ran with it. But why hide it? Why not just say, we're not happy with the offense? Arians, I did read another comment, says he thinks part of it was because he was too buddy-buddy with Roethlisberger. And people inside the organization thought that Arians was just going to give way to whatever Big Ben wanted as opposed to doing what was best for the organization.
Possible, I guess. And I mean, really, when he was here, man, I wasn't all about Bruce Arians. I'll tell you that. I mean, I wanted Ken Whisenhunt back, obviously. Yeah. That was my favorite offensive coordinator. But, I mean, things don't work out. People get better jobs elsewhere, obviously. But in hindsight, it's easy to say, yeah, we want Arians back over Todd Haley. I thought when they got rid of Arians, they could find something better, a bigger offensive coordinator that has a better offense than Todd Haley has. And I mean, when they brought Todd Haley in too, it's not like I was immediately mad they brought him in. He just stinks.
In 2012, under Haley, the Steelers only scored 336 points. That's just a shade above Arians' lowest year, which was his last year, which could have led to the retirement, firing, whatever the hell you want to call it. Arians, they scored 325. So they averaged 21 points a game in Haley's first year, 20.3 in Arians' last year. So not much of a difference between the last year and the first year. Now, people could say the Steelers are a 30-point-a-game offense right now. I don't know if I think that's going to happen.
I mean, they could be, but I think they need a better game plan from their offensive coordinator.
When you lose, and I don't know how I want to say this, I guess your best big play guy, I'm not saying Martavis Bryant's better than Antonio Brown, and I'm not saying Antonio Brown doesn't give you huge plays, because he does. But, Bryant was your deep threat. When we scored outside of the red zone, it was usually Martavis Bryant scoring those touchdowns. So when you lose that ability, it's going to be hard to score 30 points. They never even really came that close. 27.3 points per game in 2014 under Todd Haley. 24.6 points per game in 2007 under Bruce Arians was the closest in his regime. So, 27 points does sound close, but really
I remember that season. There was like 5 or 6 defensive touchdowns, man. The offense, it was like 22 or 23 points per game.
Yes. These stats are from ESPN.com. ESPN does not figure in the fact that the offense doesn't score every single point. It takes kicking points out of the equation, I think, but it doesn't take defensive points out of the equation.
I don't even know if well, you mean extra points?
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, ESPN's weird. But anyway, the whole offensive debate, the whole Arians, and from what I read in a couple of these articles, and they've only gave snippets of the interview because obviously they're not going to give it all away. It seems like Arians was a little salty at first, maybe, but not so much now. Does he still wish that he could work with Ben Roethlisberger? What offensive coordinator wouldn't, really? You know what I mean? How many quarterbacks are really that much better than Big Ben in the league right now?
Oh, he had Andrew Luck at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator for 1 year in Indy, and I think it might have been Luck's rookie year, and that was when Chuck Pagano got cancer. Beat the cancer, but Arians became the interim coach and actually led them to the playoffs, maybe even a division win. He was coach of the year that year, Arians, and then he was coach of the year the next year with the Cardinals also. So he won coach of the year 2 years in a row with 2 different franchises. That's pretty hard to do. But I don't like Todd Haley. So as quick as everybody was to run Arians out of town and say that he wasn't any good, and yeah, you could say we've scored more points, but it's also the NFL is a lot different than it was in the 5 years that Bruce Arians was
that
here.
When you're down 40-0 against the Saints, you got to come back and pass for 800 yards.
You got to throw that football. And now a lot of this hinges on Roethlisberger's health and other players on the offensive side of the football. Ben was injured some of the times for Arians. He's injured some of the times for Haley. Who knows what kind of numbers you're going to put up if Roethlisberger's not in there. So if we don't have him at quarterback.
It's really not about the numbers to me, though. When it comes down to it, man, when it comes to you need a play, they come out with the worst plays possible.
Yeah. And then this isn't even a knock on Michael Vick, but when they have their third string quarterback in Michael Vick, and whatever you want to call him, they brought him in because they weren't sure about Landry, but they roll him left basically, and then have him throw right to Antonio Brown crossing the field when they needed 1 freaking yard.
No, I remember a play when it was 4th and 1, and they threw a 2-yard out across his body to the other side of the field. That was a 45-yard pass. Oh, I thought you said over the middle.
They're throwing it to Brown. He's going right. Vic's going left. It's never a throw Vic's been that great at. And then it's easy to blame Vic because he did throw a bad pass, but it's easier to blame the offensive coordinator because he should not have put Vic in that situation. Horrible play call. I think Todd Haley tries to be too sneaky. And I like
in his trick plays suck. He reverses to Brown at the 9-yard line. So Brown throws for a touchdown pass, which he got lucky. You don't run that play there.
I think Bruce Arians' offense was more consistent than a Todd Haley offense. Am I going to sit here and say we would have won multiple more Super Bowls with Arians? Probably not. Maybe we would have gone to another one. Who knows? But this defense was kind of bad for the last couple of years up until last year when they kind of started straightening everything out. So it still would have been tough. But we won the Super Bowl in 2008 and went to a Super Bowl in 2010. Bruce Arians was the offensive coordinator for both those teams. Todd Haley has not been an offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl team to play or win yet for the Steelers.
And he was a terrible head coach as well.
Yes, he's garbage. So hopefully they get Todd Haley out of town. Obviously they're not going to be bringing Bruce Arians back to town.
But then the same thing's going to happen. They're going to bring in an offensive coordinator, and we're going to be like, oh, man, I wish we had Todd Haley back, because it keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, and you got to watch when you say this, because it could be a Haley disciple, but you'd almost rather them just bring somebody up. You know what I mean? Who in the organization's got some offensive prowess? Let him step in and work with Tomlin. Work with Ben. Hasn't Ben earned it in his career at this point to work with the offensive coordinator to build the offense? And I'm sure him and Haley get along a little better now. They didn't seem to get along when he first came to town. But I don't know. I don't like Haley. And you're right. It's easy to just say, oh, let's get him out of here. But then, I may not like the other guy. But I still don't think I'd ever say that I want Haley back, because he's garbage.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's going to be tricky for the Steelers. Doesn't matter who their offensive coordinator would be this year to score 30 points a game. Like we just told you, since 2007 to 2015, Ben's been our quarterback, and either Bruce Arians or Todd Haley's been our coordinator, and the closest we've come is 27.3 points, and that was with our defense scoring 7-8 touchdowns
and that was,
year.
2 years ago?
Yeah. Multiple touchdowns that year. That was Willie Gay's pick six bonanza year, where every time the dude touched the football, he took it to the house. So, do I expect it? No. Would it shock me? Not really at the same time.
It would shock me, because it's hard to do it at Heinz Field to begin with. I mean, you got 8 games on a shitty-ass field, really.
I think 2 teams did it last year, maybe the Patriots and the Panthers. I know the Panthers and the Cardinals, maybe, I think were the 2 teams.
Cardinals were. And do they both have turf?
I believe so. I know the Cardinals for sure, and if not, the Panthers. I mean, it's always warm down there.
Right.
Rarely do they have any inclement weather. You don't even see too many rain games down there. So it's just, it is what it is. You'll get to see the article or interview, whatever it is, on HBO. If you have HBO, I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere on the internet if you don't. I just thought it was interesting to talk about. It was an interesting read. I kind of always, I guess, admired Bruce Arians as the type of guy he is. He's a philosophical guy. He's a real...
My uncle.
Yeah, he's your uncle, so you kind of got to like him, because if not, you might not come do your job. But other than that, I don't know. I just like the way he carries himself better than Todd Haley. So I like Bruce Arians better.
Oh, absolutely. What did Todd Haley do? Something at a bar, didn't he?
I remember that he trashed a rented apartment that he had, or house, whatever it was. They him and his family apparently completely destroyed the place, and then don't even want to pay the owner all these damages. And Haley's just an ass. Arians seems like he's way cooler than Todd Haley.
Wisenhunt's cooler than both.
Please believe. But he's out in San Diego again with Phil Rivers. But that's all I got for you today. We're going to continue our Steelers schedule breakdown, I guess you want to call it. We're going to bust out another one of those this week. Get that Bucco talk in here. Them Buccos are struggling. The fans are fiending. They need it. That spread coverage. Maybe the Pirates
I came out here to do
around.
it the one day, man, and your internet was out, so I didn't know what to do.
And just for all the fans to know, since the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, I now have to root for the Pirates to win the World Series. It's heartbreaking.
Ever since you said that, though, they suck. So
I know, it's
wish
awesome.
you just shut. Yeah, exactly. So just shut your mouth.
I'm just going to keep cheering for them. Go Buccos. But fans, follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Follow me at BetJimToWin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube and clicking subscribe. Keep looking back. More Steeler episodes, more Pirate episodes. Hell, we may even throw in a UFC or what else? What other sports we got? Lacrosse.